Hey guys, Kent here with Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. I want to give you a couple tips on learning to call with a diaphragm. One of the very first things you want to do is figure out what fit you need for a diaphragm. Our diaphragms come in a few different sizes, from small, medium, and large. And the majority of people that we run into typically are going to kind of be in that medium size, but there's some that have a real narrow palate that are going to need a small frame, or some that have a very wide palate that's going to take that larger frame. And so I'm kind of in that small to medium range. And so a lot of what I like to use is the Reaper, the Black Magic, the Rocky Jacobson Signature Series, excuse me. And that's kind of what I use most of the time. Now I've used the Raging Bull, the Mellow Yellow, a lot of different variances, the Elk 101 series. But as of late, it's going to be the Rocky Jacobson Signature Series for me, as well as the Black Magic and the Reaper. Now, when somebody asks me what's my go-to, that's what fits me personally. That may not fit for you and work for you. Some people prefer the plastic domes over the pallet, and vice versa. Some like the pallet versus the plastic domes. So the very first thing, like I said, is finding that diaphragm that fits you. It may take you a few to figure that out. Once you have that figured out, the next thing you're going to do is figure out how to use that diaphragm. So if you look at a diaphragm, essentially it's got some tape around it, it's got a frame and some latex. And so if you look at it and you look at it as a U, you're going to take the bottom of that U and that's going to go back. This does not go forward like the curvature of your mouth. It's actually going to be opposite and go back. So the U, the bottom of the U is going to be at the back. Now the next thing is the frame is going to go to the top of the roof of your mouth, with the latex on the bottom touching your tongue. So if you remember that, bottom of U is back, latex on tongue, dome or palate plate on the roof of your mouth. Now it's going to sit a little further forward than a traditional flat diaphragm just based on that design. It's going to sit in a little bit high, and you can kind of start with it at the very back of your top teeth. So once you get in there, you're going to get a little bit of saliva. Now you don't want so much saliva that you're going to be basically overwetting it and it's going to be tougher to call. The other thing to remember is tongue pressure. This is probably one of the more difficult things, is getting your tongue pressure figured out. And so all the sound that you hear out of these diaphragms is the air coming across the latex. So you're going to take your tongue and flex it to where you're going to feel that muscle right in the middle. That part there is going to touch the latex, and that's where all your tongue pressure is coming from. So once you get that in there, the biggest thing that can be a struggle as well is just getting a sound out of it. So start with a little bit of air and a little bit of tongue pressure, not that much. It seems like the tendency is to put that in there, put your tongue against it, and you're just blowing extremely hard. Just use a little bit of air to begin with to make a sound. So I have very little air going and very little tongue pressure there. Now if I want to hit a higher note, I'm going to flex my tongue and push it into the latex. Now, this technique I'm going to teach you hopefully will help you learn how to use those tongue pressures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and hit a single high note. Now this is after I've got a sound out of my diaphragm. Now I'm going to start trying to just hit one single high note. Now once I hit that high note, I'm going to take just my jaw, leaving my tongue against the latex, and drop my jaw slowly, releasing pressure from my tongue. But I want my tongue to continue that contact with the latex. So I'm using essentially a little bit more air when I'm at that higher note, and kind of just backing off as I lower my jaw, a little less air pressure. So this is kind of the start to your cow sounds leading into your calf sounds. And once you start doing that, and you start doing that repetition of high note to low note, just gradually letting that pressure off, you're going to speed things up a little bit to make your cow sounds. Now, to make your calf sounds, you're going to do the same thing, a little more tongue pressure, a little more air to hit that higher note. Again, a little less pressure for your cow calls, a little more pressure for the calf. Once you get that figured out, you can start doing your cow-calf talk. Now to bugle, you're going to do the exact opposite, and you're going to start low to high. The other thing, when you start to bugle, you're going to add in a little bit of your voice. That's kind of that beginning growl of a bugle. And then adding it in at the end. Once you add that into your tube, you're going to get that full sound. That's the beginning of cow-calf talk and bugling. I hope this helps you guys as the season draws closer. We're just a few months away, and hopefully that'll teach you to use the diaphragm. Any questions, reach out to us, at Facebook, Instagram, or you can email us off the website. Best of luck, guys.